affirm the testimony to the court to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Geo Bishop?
Very well.
Okay. When did you first learn of him?
Oh man. During my spiritual journey, very early on, I had seen his videos after looking at Dr. Sebi. And he was talking about Dr. Sebi. And then
just lean forward a little bit so we
Oh,
can
yeah.
close to the microphone, please.
My cheek.
Much better. Thank you.
So you said Dr. Sevi? Is that right?
Dr. Sebi. I was getting deep into veganism and being organic, and his video popped up where he was talking about that. I trailed back into other videos and found him talking about things I talk about, no one else does.
Okay. And that was Mr. Bishop that was talking about those things?
Yes,
Okay.
online.
When you say a while ago, we're talking a couple years, 5 years? If you just had to estimate about how long ago you first learned of him?
5.5 years.
Okay. And did that start just online?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you begin communicating with Mr. Bishop?
Actually, yes, I ended up playing chess with him online while I was watching his videos. And he didn't know it was me, but after that, not much personally. No.
Okay. At some point, well, I guess you said you were on this journey. What else was going on in your life at that point when you started finding the videos online?
Well, I was already, it was my birthday, 23, and I remember being very irritated with the fact that the world doesn't acknowledge nature in a certain way. And I was going through certain things with my family. I haven't lived with my father since ever. I used to spend weekends with him, things like that. No father figures around me. And I was always looking for that, always. Brothers, friends, whatever. And, I went to this isolation phase. And I was sleeping on the floor in my room. Didn't even want to use the bed. Going really deep into depression. Just from learning more and more. And the more I learned, the sadder I got. I didn't know there was another way to live. I never thought of leaving the country. Never imagined that you could live a nice life in Mexico, So seeing that was like a huge relief. When I saw his videos with him standing on the mountains, no clothes, speaking the knowledge that I taught. And I felt free. I felt like something like the ceiling was removed and I could breathe. And I was like, I can keep living my life happily. I can do something.
And is that what was appealing about the life that Mr. Bishop offered?
100%.
When did you leave home to go stay with him?
Well, I actually went and started my own tribe, which was a video he made where he recommended we do that. I did. Naturally. Actually didn't even plan it. I ended up going into Mexico. I'm from San Diego, California. So we just crossed right through the border into Mexico, me and a couple friends. And we were just going to do our own thing. Happy, super happy. Somebody ended up calling him while we were in the car. And he ended up asking what we have to offer. He ended up asking that my friends, they offered money and different things. I'm like, I got my music, I got my computer, I can make everyone an album. And he's like, we want him, that's what we need. Yeah, you're for sure, you can come. And I was like, that's the commander-in-chief of the Earth plane. I would love to go. I would be honored.
Where were they located at this point?
They were actually in Palenque, Mexico. I have no idea though. I thought they were in Belize, or I didn't know.
Okay. And so did you at that point travel to Palenque?
Yes. So I went from Tijuana, and once we spoke with him, he had us go to various locations, and then we finally went to Palenque, and then he sent people to pick me and my friend Jacob up.
Okay. And where were they living or staying at this point?
There was a So really nice, I think, couple acre property in Palenque, Mexico, top of a mountain.
Was it like a house? Were they in tents? Like, what was the living
It was a
situation?
decent sized house
Okay.
with a lot of acres of land. I think 5. I could be wrong, but it was a lot of acres of land, mango trees, fruit trees. We set up tents wherever.
And when you arrived, did you have personal belongings like passport, currency, things of that nature with you?
Yes.
What happened to those items?
I was gonna leave them behind. I brought them with me, and I just stored them in my backpack in the attic. And after a couple months, it actually was all ruined from mold and things. But
Okay. And the name? Did you go by a different name in the group?
it was the same.
When you first met up with the group, how would you describe your relationship with Mr. Bishop?
I think I was frustrated with the group in general. At first, they weren't applying the knowledge that we were there apparently for. It's like they didn't know. It's like they were students. I thought I was going to be around a bunch of masters. Some of the guys were having a meeting and they were going to leave. I expressed my frustration of them not applying the same music that they rap, the same knowledge they rap about in their music. And I'm like, this is crazy. I thought you guys were them. And Alifio told me, he said, you're right. Don't worry, you are right. But they don't respect you yet. Be quiet and let me handle this. And I just sat there frustrated initially. I thought we had a good relationship at first, and I believe later on that night, he ended up going around calling me a vampire and saying I was just sucking up the energy around and really negative. Started telling people to stop talking to me. Started telling people to stop engaging with me. We were at dinner, I remember. We were at dinner at Jade's, Cafe Jade in Palenque, Mexico. And I was getting along very well with everyone. He did not like that.
What were the sleeping arrangements in the group?
The men were separated from the women, unless they were paired together, which was off and on. The sleeping arrangements were either on the floor in the house together as a group, if we're sleeping inside. If we sleep outside, we all had our own cabela tents, very large tents, and we can share them with 4 to 8 people sometimes. Or we had our own personal tents.
Okay. And who would decide, like, if y'all are sleeping in the house or in the tent that night? Like, where did that come from?
The group. We would collectively agree on what we wanted to do for the night sometimes.
Okay. What about other rules within the group? When you got there, did you learn rules?
To a degree. We were told that we would be following the laws of Mayat, which was not done. And we were also told that we were going to be living by something called morals over desires, or MODs, which Alivio put together. And this was to keep us from doing things in our desires, if you will, or making sure that we made sacred movements with everything that we did.
So where did the rules within the group come from?
Well, there were rules, they just weren't ever followed. He put them together, as far as I'm concerned, and as we went throughout the years, we were always changing and manipulating these rules and when and where to use them, things like that.
And who was changing the rules?
Alivio.
Were there rules related to romantic relationships?
Yes, and that was the most fickle rule.
How so?
It only applied when either he was quote-unquote single or the woman he wanted wouldn't be with him, or when he felt like he needed to do a media stunt was another reason. He would say he wanted all the women and things like that. It was really always very superficial why he chose to intervene.
And were folks within the group able to say no to Mr. Bishop?
The option was to leave or agree.
What would happen if someone upset or angered Mr. Bishop?
I would say that emotional abuse would begin. This is where people would be isolated, put in a corner, or for those who are familiar with college, like a hazing type of thing, We would treat people a certain way if they are not in agreement with him. Or one of the things that would happen is we would call them a cancer cell, and we would treat them like they're a cancer cell, like in the body, and they have to kill the cancer cells. But we're not going to kill them. We're just going to surround them, and this was the concept.
Okay. What did members of the group call Mr. Bishop? Like, how was he referred to?
It changed from my experience, Commander-in-Chief, and then it went to Chief. It went to, let me see, there was Natureboy. I never really knew I never got to meet him when he went by Natureboy. There was a 3 guy, which is the most fraudulent one. I think the list goes on. He used to change his name really often to similar things. So, just small alterations.
How did he refer to the world outside of the group?
For those familiar with the Bible or history, Babylon is what he would call it.
And would he allow folks within the group to maintain communication with their friends and family outside of the group?
Yes, however, it was frowned upon.
Okay, how so?
It was as if you didn't really let go of your Babylon self or your Babylon family as it was regarded as. So if you did reach out and it wasn't to convince them to support us for money, there's no reason to be talking to them.
When people left the group, how did Mr. Bishop respond?
He didn't care. I mean, initially, when they try to leave, it's hell on wheels. Once they finally get to leave, he does not care.
Can you describe whether there was like an us against them ethos within the group?
Yes, there was a us against them ethos where anywhere segregation took place. So whether it was men or women, that would be a type of war. A team and B team. It would be these guys do the dirty work, we do all the technical stuff, and we get more rewards than them. That always played a part, at least I seen it in how they felt, how the guys would feel. And anytime anyone would disagree with him, many times I had to sit up for hours fighting for what was true while everyone was, quote unquote, being a yes man, just so they can go to sleep or just so they can eat.
Violence be used within the group?
Often, very often.
What was that violence used to accomplish?
Dominance.
By whom?
Alivio. Even if it was done from other people, it was usually under an order. Very militant, so things would be done under orders.
Did the group maintain a robust online presence while you were there?
Oh, yes.
And were there, I guess, was anything posted on any of the defendant's social media without his causing that to happen?
No. He actually had to verify most all posts. And even if we made our own content, we'd have to show it to him initially to get it approved. After a while, we kind of got in the groove of the standard, and we can just make our own content.
And by 2022, if you had to estimate about how many social media followers did Mr. Bishop have?
Instagram read about 30,000. However, it was way more than that, all collectively on the internet.
And during your time in the group, did you participate in social media videos?
Often, yes.
Did those, during the course of those videos, were you saying positive things about Mr. Bishop and the group?
Always, yeah.
Did your comments in those videos accurately reflect the reality of what was happening?
No, because we only spoke on knowledge. We didn't really speak about what went on in the home front. That would turn people away.
Were you with the group on March 24th of 2022?
I believe so, yes.
The night you left?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what was happening that day?
Yes.
What was going on?
The relevant part, I was actually setting up an interview with Tasha K this day at the house.
Who's Tasha K?
She's a YouTuber.
Okay,
who's known for many things, I'm sure.
Okay,
I don't know her details. But I met with her for lunch. We scheduled an interview at the house this day. Excuse me, not this. Yeah, that's when I scheduled it. And that night, I remember. Excuse me, I think I confused the dates a little bit. But I think that night, with the night, she was yet again fighting to be in a relationship with me. Usually the cause of most issues with was she wanted to be with me over and over and all the time. She's always telling it to him. And my ex was behind me. Her name, you guys know her as Zoka, or Jean Marie. You guys know her as Zoka. He knows she's my ex, and he knows that she wants to be with me. I've even been with both of them at the same time before. And the thing is, when he likes to put us on blast, we use astrology to really point out flaws or things, psychological issues people may have. I share certain aspects in astrology that were highlighted during this meeting. We were being called demons. We were being told that we were operating in our lower selves.
Okay, so hold on. I think I'm lost. So this meeting is taking place that night?
That night.
Okay. All right. And so who all is present for the meeting?
The whole group.
Okay. And you said that you're being told this. Who's saying these things about you?
So Eligio has a table just like this, and he has a TV, and he has our chart pulled up on a TV. Everybody's sitting in various areas, either on their knees, men would be on their knees often, or the women would be sitting in the chairs, however it works.
Okay.
We're all in the same room.
Okay. So as that's going on, what happens next?
So he starts to pull up these aspects, talking about we have this same demon, quote unquote, and he continues to fight for what she wants. And Eligio starts antagonizing her. Can't tell you verbatim what he was saying. It got to a point
Can't because you don't remember, or something else?
I don't remember.
Okay, fair enough. All right, go ahead.
And he ended up having Zelda slapping her a couple of times. I remember, he said that, I do remember. He said, "What was that face? I saw that face. What was that face you just made?" I remember that. And I was like, "What face? What? I'm just here." She was like, obviously was scared to be punished immediately. He then had my ex, Zelda, start slapping her. She slapped her a couple times, based off of how they responded. Shortly after this, we continued the meeting hours. It's just a bunch of redundant things. The night that meeting's over, she finally submits, which is usually what happens. She submits to whatever the will is of the collective to proceed. They end up having their night. She ends up saying, "Well, I'm just going to leave." She calls her Uber, has everything there. We're not stopping her. We don't really care. She's leaving, you know? And the girls call her back upstairs as she's leaving. And this is when we don't necessarily know all the details.
So let me just so we're clear. So when they went back upstairs, do you remember who called her inside?
Malia.
Okay. So Malia calls her inside.
Malia said, "God's calling you."
Okay. So after Malia said that, what did you see do?
She went upstairs.
Okay.
And I thought she was going to leave again, but she just went upstairs and never came back down.
Okay. And where were you at this point?
I was in the same space we were having the meeting. Very close to that is a little room where I have a little office where I do most of my technical work. And I just went there.
And so you were, okay. Were you paying attention to what was going on upstairs?
No, the men usually separate, and let the lead handle whatever he wanted to do with the women. And the men usually, we work together and manage each other.
What else was going on in the house at this point?
Nothing. Cleaning.
Okay.
Just cleaning and doing the mundane things, seeing what money can be made, keeping the social media going, that's about it.
Okay. You ever see again after that?
Yes.
Well, did you ever see again within the group after that?
Within the group, no.
Okay.
That was her last time with that group.
All right. How long did you remain in the group?
About a week after, I remember shortly after she left, we had got a warrant. And I was showing the warrant and wasn't taken very serious. I remember saving it in my desk because I knew it was serious, the warrant. And about a little bit later, the police came and arrested pretty much everybody off of for this speaker.
And so after that event, did you remain loyal to the group, or what did you do?
When we initially were arrested, I just stayed there. He never came back.
Okay.
From being arrested. I stayed with the group, and I continued to help mitigate whatever needed to be done to sustain everyone, as that was my role.
At some point, though, did you meet again?
Yes.
Okay. And did the two of you all engage in a relationship?
When I first met with her, no. We actually stayed far apart because of the case. However, when I left, a couple men left with me, actually supported me in the leaving, and she ended up paying for my ticket at this place called Jeju. It's a spa. It's a place where I could just go and stay 24 hours, sleep and all that. And she paid for that, and she helped me with a number of things initially when I left.
Okay. When was the last time that you talked
to her?
That you have seen her in person?
Let me see. When I went to see my daughter with her, which was, I don't recall the date, maybe about 2-3 months ago.
Okay. So that's what I was trying to get at. The two of y'all have a child together, right?
Yes.
And that happened, did that happen after you left the group?
Yes.
Okay. But are y'all currently in a relationship?
It's complicated.
Do y'all currently reside in the same home?
No.
Okay.
Awesome. My name is Robert Book. I represent Mr. Bishop. Just a few questions for you. All right. So you indicated you know him very well. You were in San Diego. You went over into Mexico. And what year was that you did that?
About 2019.
Okay. Is that when you first met Mr. Bishop in person?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And there were the people that went with you. You said was someone named Jacob as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you indicated that at that time, whatever your name was, I think is what the name you go by as well.
Yes.
Okay. Was that your name before 2019, or that's something you changed over in 2019?
I got that name working with Ear Drummers, which is a music production.
Ear Drummers?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It had nothing to do with Mr. Bishop. It's something to do with your music.
Not at all. It had nothing to do with him.
Okay. Are you a musician?
Yes.
Okay. Are you in some type of music group?
I'm an independent artist.
Okay. All right. And so you guys stay in Mexico before you go elsewhere.
What time? When are you talking?
When you went there in 2019.
We stayed there for about a year.
Okay.
And when we left, we chose to leave.
Mm-hmm.
The house was raided in Mexico, and we all felt very uncomfortable staying in that same place where those police raided our house.
Okay.
So we did leave, and then we just started traveling from there.
Did you come back to Atlanta at some point?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And during the time that you were back in Atlanta, is that when you met?
We returned to Atlanta twice. I met my first week in Mexico, not in person, but online.
Okay. Did you invite her to come there?
No.
You never invited her to come there?
She had went there before me, and she was already aware about it. We didn't
Okay.
speak on that.
Okay, so she had been there before 2019.
Correct.
Okay. All right, but when you got there in 2019, during the year you were there, she came there during that time frame as well.
No.
She never came there in 2019.
2019 didn't come. I remember mostly talking to her on the phone, and I believe she did initially come like for the first time in Atlanta.
Okay.
When I first met her in person.
And you guys were in Atlanta in 2020?
2019, 2020, yes.
Okay, and were you staying the 2 times? I think you mentioned that you were in Atlanta twice. Was it the same house?
No.
Different houses?
Yes.
Okay, so the house in 2022 and the house in 2020 were different houses?
2020 and 2022.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And you were at both of those houses, though, correct?
Correct.
All right. You indicated, I just want to go over a couple of things that you talked about, that you guys would collectively agree on what to do and where to sleep, or was that something that Mr. Bishop decided unitarily?
That was only initially. After a while, people would be in their own domains based off of where we were.
Okay.
So whether they're in a relationship with their partner in their tent or they were sleeping alone.
Okay.
And I suppose if the guys wanted to do something different, sleep however we wanted, we could sleep in the studio, we could sleep in the kitchen, we could sleep wherever we wanted, really.
Okay. So you had some autonomy yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you testified earlier that if you didn't agree that you could leave, correct?
Yes.
Basically, if you don't agree with what I'm telling you to do, hit the road.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you indicated that, Mr. Bishop, it was frowned upon to allow others to communicate with your family. Is that fair to say?
It was frowned upon, yes.
Okay. Did people not communicate with their family at all?
Majority did not.
Okay. And you guys had an online presence, though, of greater than 30,000 people. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And this was live videos and streaming and all this stuff, correct?
All forms of content. We
All
had a
forms?
large technical team.
Okay. And the content would basically be just live things that you guys were doing, following y'all on a daily basis, right?
No.
What would it be?
Music,
Music?
media, graphic design, which can be placed into a myriad of different areas online,
Okay.
and so on.
So,
Acting,
Sorry.
we would act sometimes, we would perform certain things, music, on different lives and different platforms.
Okay.
The platforms would pay us for being on there.
okay. So you guys would do music? What kind of music? Anything I would have?
I would call it conscious music.
Conscious music. Okay. All right. And that would be for the whole group?
Correct. Even
Okay.
for myself to this day.
Okay. And you said you guys would also do some type of graphic design?
Yes.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Photoshop. What's the other one? Final Cut. DaVinci Resolve. Different things to do editing.
Okay.
Or whether it be music videos, a normal post with a picture, maybe
Okay.
a quote from him,
Okay.
maybe
And
a
this
moving picture. Who knows?
this would be something you guys would do every day?
Every single day.
Okay. And you also said you guys did acting as well?
Yes.
Is that acting something you guys would do every day?
It depends on if that was what we had a dossier for the content.
Okay. And would the acting include everybody in the group?
No, it would just be whoever the creative minds were at work.
Okay. But it would be produced on behalf of the group?
Yes.
Okay.
And it would have to be checked by a lead,
Okay.
even the music, everything.
So the music, the graphic design, and the acting were all things that Mr. Bishop helped to create and or facilitated in some way, and you needed permission. Okay. Would sometimes the acting be dramatic?
No.
What would the acting include?
Skits.
Mm-hmm.
Different metaphorical ways to convey a message of knowledge itself.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so the 30,000 plus followers, but you believe it was more than that, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm almost done. Based on you were present at the house in Atlanta on March 24th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said Zoka ZOCA, and that was a girl that was your ex-girlfriend, correct?
My wife on paper.
Your wife on paper. So you guys were married legally at some point? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you were in a relationship with her, you separated from her, and she wanted to be with you as well?
I never really separated from them.
Okay.
How would I put this?
From the ex-wife? You never separated from who?
Either of them. The living situations would have us at odds, often in different places, but we were always in communication. They would even sneak out to come and meet me when they could at any time.
Okay. All right. Because in fact, you said on direct examination that you were with Zoka and sexually at the same time before.
Correct.
Okay. Was that something you guys did often?
No.
Just something you did just one time?
Correct.
Okay.
Not one time.
Huh?
It was not one time, but it wasn't often either.
Oh, it was more than one time.
It was while the relationship was lasting. While we were all publicly together.
Okay.
There was a lot of games that had to be played for our relationships to exist.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Zoka is your ex. You're in a relationship with Zoka and.
Correct.
Okay. But ultimately ends up leaving that night. Well, she goes outside with her bags and then she comes back inside, right?
She never got to leave the door. Her stuff was stopped right at the door with her Uber waiting for her outside.
Okay, so she turned around and came back upstairs. This is a 2-story house?
When Malia said God is calling from upstairs in the 2-story house, she turned around and went upstairs.
Okay. When she went back upstairs, did she say anything to you or anybody else?
No.
Okay. And her bags that she had, were they just left there at the front door?
Correct.
Okay. And this is a 2-story house that had a 3 bedrooms on the second floor, correct?
Yes.
All the bedrooms for that house was on the second floor.
Yes.
Okay. And upstairs it had two bathrooms and a half bathroom on the first floor, correct?
Half bathroom on the first floor. Yep, that's right.
Okay. And the men slept somewhere on the first floor and the women slept in a room upstairs?
It would change based off of where we would move our stuff. So there was times where I slept in the middle room upstairs. There was times where I was slept in Eligio's room by his bed.
Okay.
While we watch a movie or something.
Okay. It just depended.
Depends.
Okay. All right. And so once she went upstairs, you didn't hear anything from her or see anything else from her again until after she had left?
The next day when we woke up and we caught word that she left, there's no need to look for her because she's gone.
Okay. And you didn't communicate with her that day?
No.
Okay. And it was about a week or 2 weeks later that you communicated with her again?
Correct.
Okay. And then you reinitiated your relationship with her after that, and you guys ended up having a baby?
We had a baby after she came to live with me in Mexico. Yeah.
Okay. So you went back to Mexico yourself?
Correct.
Okay. And she came down there with you?
Yes.
Okay. Did Zoka go also?
I invited her when she left the group. So she actually left the group and came to me. And she expressed to me that she knows how fraudulent Leo is. She knows how fake it is there at the group. And she knows it's all just a game. She left and she was staying at a women's shelter. She contacted me requesting help. I offered her my house. I offered her a home in San Diego. I offered her some things in Atlanta. She declined because she only wanted to be in a relationship. About a week later, she ended up going back to the group and online did live videos to make it look like she never left.
Okay. Did you do any online videos with the group as well after 2022 or during 2022?
With the group after.
Once you were in March of 2022 or right afterwards when the police came to the house, did you make any videos online after that?
We collectively worked on videos to throw dirt on and make her seem crazy.
Okay. Videos that you were part of as well, right?
I played a part in them as far as downloading clips, finding sections to maybe make her look crazy, maybe invalidate what she's saying, maybe invalidate what she's telling the world.
Okay. Did you say anything on any of those videos?
No.
So if there was a video that had you saying something on it, it wouldn't be accurate?
About
Yes,
no.
sir.
Unless I was teaching, I always teach the truth.
Okay. You were a teacher in the group?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Last question. That night on March 24th, 2022, was it primarily just a group there, or was it a lot of people there as in a party or something like that?
Repeat the first part of the question.
On March 24th, going at the night of March 24th and into the 25th, was there like a party going on at the house, or was it just like the group, just a typical night there?
That was the night where Tasha K had showed up that I mentioned earlier. That was the night she had showed up. The 24th, I think. Excuse me, a correction. That night was the night I left.
Okay.
Which was about a week after that. So was there a party? I mean, every day is a party.
Okay.
Every night's a party.
Okay. The night Tasha, you keep mentioning somebody named Tasha K. Tasha K shows up.
Correct.
That's after March 24th? That's when you left?
It's when I left, yes.
Okay, that's when she came there.
When Tasha came for that interview, yes.
And so you ended up leaving at that time?
I ended up leaving at that time because I would have lied if I didn't that interview.
Okay. So you did the interview with her expressing your opinion about the group, and then you ended up leaving?
No, I did not do the interview because the interview was to be in favor of Eligio.
Okay.
And that was the day that I left because I know that he's a fraud and he's been living and telling lies.
Okay. You disagree with him, right?
He manipulates information.
Okay. And so the videos that he's placed online, you would say you would disagree with that, correct?
From that group, yes.
Okay. All right. Last question for you. The online presence, would you say it's thousands or hundreds of videos? This is my third last question. This one is my last question.
Thousands of videos collectively, because everybody who posts a video or who has posted a video must put his picture and name in the video somewhere.
Okay. So it would be thousands of videos.
Thousands.
Okay. All right.
I got
Thanks, sir.
thousands alone. I got thousands with me just alone.
In regards to the group?
Correct.
Just by yourself?
Correct.
Okay. So that would it be fair to say over 5,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Redirect.
I think we covered it, Your Honor. No further questions.
Okay. All right. May he be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you so much. We're good to go. All right.